Okay, I will be the first to admit that round 6 of the AFL did not go so well for my tipping, but as D-Ream say, things can only get better in round 7. So looking back at last week, it was just horrendous. So let's very quickly run through this. On Thursday, the 18th, I did St Kilda to win by 6. And I would like to say a lot of these games really could have gone either way. It was so difficult to call. But obviously, Western Bulldogs decided to turn up and destroy St Kilda by 60 points. And no one got even close to a close score on that one. So nothing for me there. Then, Friday the 19th, I did Crows to win by 3. They actually lost to the Bombers by 3. So I do get half a point for a close score. And look how close. 46 to 54 was the split in percentage for what people have picked. So it shows how swung these games were in people's opinions. So I get a close score, and that is all. Saturday then came around, and it was Collingwood versus Port. Well, a big scoring game, and I did Port to win by 8. Collingwood won by 42, and once again, not many people saw that sort of scoreline. So 46 to 54, again, a real split in people's opinions. That's basically summing up last week. Then Carlton versus Giants. This is Giants' first loss. They have finally lost, and yeah, it was a fairly close game for most of it, but yeah, Carlton got over that 100 mark and they prevailed, and the underdogs were Carlton and 38%, and I think probably maybe two people got a correct score. I get nothing. I get absolutely nothing again. I did Giants by 10, they lost by 19. Brisbane Lion are having a shocking time at home. The saying of they do well at home is not true this season at all. So, Geelong, it was a very low-scoring game, that's all I'll say, but I did Brisbane to win by 5. Geelong are undefeated so far, 6 out of 6. They won by 26 points, and lots of people, another 42-58 split, it's crazy. Then, well, the Battle of the West Coast. West Coast, they won by 105 to 68, so they won by 37. I did Fremantle by 17, random number I know. 92% of people went for Freo. What the hell are Freo doing? That sums them up. But is this the Rob curse? Probably. Yeah, probably. But things did look up, sort of. Didn't get a close score, but I did Sydney Swans to win on Sunday. Swans versus Gold Coast. Gold Coast are slowly going down the table. 95% of people went for Swans, and that is perfectly understandable. I did a win by 30. They won by 53. Then the last game of the week was very disappointing because North... that's probably the tightest... Actually, no. When they play against Richmond or West Coast, they might have a close prediction wise, but yeah, I did North by 20 and they lost by 45, so I get 1.5 points. What a disaster. This is normally my favourite part, but it is not today for obvious reasons. So let's check out how people are doing now. Gurud is up number 1 in first place. Yin is down 1. Big mover, Dark Soul, up 35 places with the golden hat. Jackson in 7th is up 42. He's coming back for his title that he won last year. Tarsha up 16. Any other big movers? Swanee Steve down 12. Let's see any more. Otis up 18. Kev up 11. Down 12 is Just Really. 25 down is Sam Bird. Up 34 is Sister Fifi. Very, very good. Connor Pepper up 33. Down 14, Jaden Saints. Shady Vale up 17. Any other big move? Kate up 19. Well done. Down 30. Ouch. Is Papa Cryptic. That is painful. Up 30 though is Jack ABM. Yeah, well done. Up 40. Oh my God. Emily Jane Blues. Emily, well done. That's incredible. Down 38 is Kat. So you can see some really big movement this week. Because of those close calls, if you were like me and just consistently got the wrong side of the call, you were plummeting. Kat down 38. Ouch. Up 21 is Sky Marie. Uh-oh. Go Bloods. Down 26 gets the wooden spoon this week. Where am I? This is painful. This is down 36 is Graz. There's some... Oh, God. Down 22. Robreacts down to 94th place. That is agony. Oh, that is embarrassing. Embarrassing. Let's see who's near the bottom. We got some more movement. There's a little bit of small movement near the bottom of the table. Oh, God. That is just... painful. So on to round 7, which we actually have Anzac Day on Thursday. So obviously we will have Collingwood versus Essendon. But let's start with an unusual Wednesday night game at MCG. Richmond versus Melbourne. Now Richmond are just struggling. 1 win so far out of 6. They are all... they are just struggling for performances. And those key players... are not performing at all. Melbourne, they are up in 6th at the moment. They've lost 2 out of 6. So they're doing okay. Like I said, they will be up there. They're consistent enough to be up there, and I don't see them losing 2 games in a row. I can't see anything other than a Melbourne win, to be honest. I really, really can't see anything other than a Melbourne win. So let's do... I think it'll probably be a big one. Let's do Melbourne by 40. There is no reason why they can't walk all over Richmond. So a 40-point win to the D's. Thursday, Anzac Day, MCG as standard. We've got Essendon versus Collingwood. Now, both teams, actually, amazingly, Collingwood started off awful, right? They were dreadful. Last year's winners of the grand final. They couldn't buy a win, but they have finally broken through, and now they're hitting some form. However, you're against Essendon, who are currently in 7th place, and they've only lost 2. Essendon are a weird team, though. I know they've only lost 2, which is the same as Melbourne, but they are still a team that isn't really performing as a core group. They don't have that excitement. They don't have that real goal scoring energy, and I don't necessarily think they're massively strong in defence, but they are doing enough. They're doing okay. They're doing enough to win those games. Some games bit are pretty tight and they squeeze over the line, but Collingwood now are finding their form, aren't they? After that really rough start, they are finding their form, and I don't think I can look past Collingwood winning this one. I really, really don't. So I'm going to go for a Collingwood win. I think that is the right call, hopefully, this week. So Collingwood are going to win this fairly comfortably, I reckon. Let's do a Collingwood win by 20. I think that's fair. I think you're playing with the atmosphere as well, because on Anzac Day, it will be electric at the MCG. So yeah, a Collingwood win by 20. Then we are at the Giants. I assume it'll be at the Giants Stadium. I will double check and the overlay will come on. Giants suffered their first loss last week after. It wasn't an awful performance, so I'm going to say it was possibly a blip. And they are facing a team in Brisbane who can't even win at the Gabba, at their home ground, which is normally their fortress. And Lions are away from home. Now, maybe that is actually a positive thing because their results are coming away from home. So, I think it's really difficult because how can you tip Brisbane after such a bad performance? I have to go with Giants, but just it's going to be probably typical that Brisbane will now all of a sudden perform. It's mad, but how can you look past Toby Green's Orange Army? I don't think you can, and I expect Giants to get back on winning ways. I can just see a real shock performance coming out of the blue from Brisbane. I can just see it. After 30 odd points they got last week, they should not win unless they really do come firing back. So it's a difficult choice because I don't want to pick Giants because they're our rivals, but let's go a 10-point win to Giants. Brisbane are going to screw me over, I can just tell. Friday, Adelaide Oval, we've got Port versus Saints. Port obviously lost last week to a strong Collingwood side that have found their groove. They found their mojo. And I think it wasn't necessarily an awful performance by Port. That's the funny thing. But they were just beaten by a better team on the day. Saints, I think, have been really lackluster. I don't know how the odds are as low for Saints as it is. I just don't see them. I just don't see it with them. They're sitting in 13th spot. They're just with 2 wins, and I just don't see them winning this. It's at the Oval, so a Port win. I can't see Port losing 2 in a row either, and I think Saints are really going to hit their slump now. I really do. They're not convincing. So let's go with a 40-point win for Adelaide, for Port Adelaide. Then we're going over to the Blundstone Arena. I've seen this from a long distance at the top of Mount Wellington. It's a brilliant sight from the top of Mount Wellington, I must say. North versus Crows. Now, Crows just have been so disappointing, haven't they? I know they got a win a couple of weeks ago, but that was scraping over the line, wasn't it? And they come again, and they were awful the following week. So, but North, I just want them to win. I want them to win, but how are they going to win? Because they're so rubbish. I feel so bad for a North fan, especially when West Coast are doing better than them as well. That is painful. Look, I'm in 90-odd position. I might as well go for North, just for the shits and giggles. So I'm going to go North. Oh, I don't know why, but let's go North by 6. Oh, God, that's going to be a mess. Then MCG, undefeated Geelong versus Carlton. I am still shocked about how well Geelong are doing, especially from winning the grand final against my Swans in strong fashion, to then last season where they were hopeless. And now this season, they are fantastic. They're playing against Carlton, who in themselves have only lost 1 game. And Carlton are winning. They are scoring goals and doing well, but so are Geelong. This is a very, very difficult one. This is probably the toughest, probably the closest, maybe toughest pick of the week, for sure. And even the odds show that, look, 1.8 to 2. It's ridiculously tight. Because I'm not a massive fan of Carlton, I'm sorry Carlton fans, I'm going to go with a win for Geelong. Their wins have been a little bit more convincing. They are on incredible form, and it's not that Carlton aren't on good form, but I just think possibly Geelong may be a little bit more prolific with their scoring. So I'm going to do a Geelong win by 10. Then Optus, Freo versus Bulldogs. It's weird. It's weird because Fremantle started 3 wins, back-to-back wins. And then they've just gone and lost 3 back-to-back. It's mad. It doesn't make sense. Western Bulldogs, they either turn up or they don't turn up. Both teams here seem as bad as each other. But Western Bulldogs have performed in that last game, whereas Freo, wow, to lose to West Coast, that is embarrassing. I know it's at the Optus, but they were at the Optus last week and they were useless, so I don't think it makes any difference at all. So I'm going to go with a Western Bulldogs win by 30. Western Bulldogs, they're scoring goals, so they're going to score a lot against a defensive Freo. Because if this is the thing, if Freo's defence has an off day, they're clearly not going to make it up with the goals that they score. So it could be another painful one for them. Sunday, we are Gold Coast Suns versus West Coast Eagles. I will double check where the game is, which will come up here. Gold Coast versus West Coast. Unbelievably, West Coast are 2 wins back to back. Gold Coast, 3 wins in their last 6. They are another team that is so inconsistent. And that's what you need. This is what you're seeing from the top teams there. The top teams in the league are the consistent teams. Yes, you may have an off day, but it's how you react after that off day. You know, when Sydney Swans lost that game, the one we've lost, we came back firing and we did a better performance. But I'm not seeing that from Gold Coast. Can West Coast Eagles get another win? The odds certainly don't say they will. But maybe they're flying now. Maybe they're going to creep up the table like no one predicted. Shall we? I think we're going to do that just for a laugh. West Coast need a little bit of joy after the last couple of seasons. So let's go West Coast by 4. Yeah, nice tight game. West Coast by 4. Last game of the week is at the MCG. Hawthorn versus the Swans. Swans have shown they can come away from home and perform just as well as when they go and play at home. Swans are going to win this. Swans are going to win this. Hawthorn did win their last game though, but it was against North, so that's not really saying anything, is it? It's not saying anything. So let's go Sydney Swans by 40. Please, Swans. Bang on the money, 40 on the money. And that is my picks for the week. So my pick summary: Melbourne by 40, Collingwood by 20, Giants by 10, Port by 40, North by 6, Geelong by 10, Western Bulldogs by 30, West Coast Eagles by 4, and Sydney by 40. Those are my picks, and to be fair, I only need 2 correct to get better than last week, so it can only get better, fingers crossed. There are hopefully some bankers there. Swans is a banker. I would like to think Port is a banker. Collingwood, you'd think, and Melbourne, so that's at least 4 I should get right. But thank you so much for joining me. It's all a bit of fun. If we do awful, we do awful. If we do well, we do well. And it's so frustrating because I think about this all weekend. Thank you so much for joining me. If you do want to support the channel, please do obviously like and subscribe. If you go to asweare.space, then you can check out our merchandise as well. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you next week.